With the update moments ago, but obviously the Browns looking to solidify something on their offensive line. They deal with a familiar trade partner, the Houston Texans, agreeing to terms on a trade for right tackle. Is it Tytus Howard to Cleveland in exchange for a fifth-round pick? 3-year, $63 million extension. Also, in addition to the trade. So you gave up a fifth-round pick. You're getting somebody who last year there were some mixed results, was really good in pass rush, according to some of the numbers and Pro Football Focus, and has not given up a sack, at least attributed to him, since the divisional round in 2024. Had some issues protecting or at least blocking in the run game, but the Browns trading for him. Darryl, is he 29 or is he 30 years old?
Yeah, he's 29 years old, will be 30. Started 16 games each of the last two seasons for the Texans. 1 down, 4 to go. There is your replacement for Jack Conklin at right tackle.
So he's definitely going to play right tackle?
Well, you give him, yeah. I think that they're going to. I would think you'd play him at right tackle because again, I am not a subscriber to Andrew Berry's theory that right tackles can be left tackles and vice versa. Like I don't think that those positions are interchangeable. I think the footwork, the techniques are different. But you got 1 down, 4 more spots on that line to fill. I really think Joel Bitonio is coming back now. I do.
You think so?
Yeah, I think so. The fact that he's taken this long to think about it tells you he's really considering coming back. So if I had to bet right now, I'd say Joel's going to come back. We'll see.
Tytus Howard, overall grade in 2025.
In the 60 percentile there for PFF, right?
Yeah, it said he was 58th out of 89 total tackles, overall grade. Now, his pass block grade, 17th out of 89, but run, he was one of the bottom 10 in the league. So, yeah, when you trade a fifth rounder, and typically, I always ask anybody, come free agency, we list all the top free agency targets at each position. But what do we know about the NFL? When guys even make it to free agency, they are probably older, on the downside of their career, falling out of favor with their current team. When you trade for somebody like this, what's interesting is what was the rap on the Texans last year?
They
rebooted their whole offensive line.
Yes, they did. And also, too, I think what this does for them is allow them to continue going young up front. First and foremost, and again, for the Browns, it gives them a replacement for Jack Conklin. Also, I think for the Browns, it allows them to pursue their left tackle now in the draft. I think that's... I think it's pretty safe to say the Browns are going to take a left tackle either at 6 or 24.
I've assumed at 6 overall. That was, if you missed the beginning of the show, that was one of the thoughts I had. That I did not think they were going to go wide receiver at 6. Obviously,
I don't either.
You had mentioned trading down. The only problem with trading down is that when you hear that every team is trying to trade down, and yet nobody wants to give up, significant draft capital from next season.
Because everyone wants to be in position for what is believed to be one of the better quarterback classes. Now, just caution everyone before you take that to the bank. We thought that going in to last college football season, that was going to be setting up one of the better quarterback draft classes, which I think was part of Andrew Berry's calculus in trading down from 2 to 5, taking Mason Graham, picking up the Jaguars' 2026 first-round pick, which ultimately fell at number 24 overall, thinking, okay, we're going to be in position now to get one of the top quarterbacks. Turns out really only one top quarterback in this class, and that's Fernando Mendoza. I know there's conversation about Ty Simpson being a first-round pick. A lot of buzz coming out of the combine. He's going to pop into the top 15. But the more I'm thinking about this in the landscape, and then obviously after this trade with Houston for Tytus Howard, I think it really makes sense with the first pick in their arsenal that the Browns will use it for their new left tackle.
So you said one of the first dominoes to fall because obviously one of the big significant talking points about the Browns and what this rebuild or reincarnation would be
retool.
Retool.
I mean, it is a rebuild. They don't want to use that word, but I do,
one
because
half
that's what
of the
it is.
ball. Yeah.
They've been rebuilding for the last 2 years. You win 8 games and you're doing what you're doing. Offensively needs to be completely gut. Like that's a rebuild. That's not a retool. There's nothing to retool offensively because there's nothing there. You have to build from the ground up. So this is obviously the first domino to fall this offseason, and especially up front, when, depending on what Joel decides to do, you potentially have to replace all 5 of your starting offensive linemen, okay? At least have to replace 4 of them. So now you get Howard here in the fold, Andrew Berry getting business done before he leaves Indianapolis to come back to Cleveland, and they begin their internal evaluations of the existing roster with the new coaching staff.
Does it signify anything to you at all? And again, if you're just joining us, the Browns have made a trade again with the Texans. How do you feel about trading with the Texans?
Well, the last big trade they made with the Texans worked out great, as I roll my eyes.
They have not been shy, obviously, in working with each other, but they have brought in right tackle, at least that's what he's listed at, Titus Howard, somebody who much better, according to the numbers, and what happened last year in Houston, much better in pass protection than the run. So when you bring in somebody who's 29, on the verge of 30 for the season when they get underway, does it signify anything to you about the plans of the team? Because obviously they're inking him to an extension.
Right.
And I've already seen some people say, well, if they're doing...
I think 32 going on 33 when that extension would expire. So there's nothing wrong with the age factor there. You're good there. It's not like the guy's 35 or 36 years old. So I still feel like you're in the sweet spot there of peak performance of a guy's career when you're talking about years 29 through 32 through 33 with this contract extension. So there's no issue there. That's fine.
Yeah, just in looking like every offensive lineman, I mean, so many of those guys at some point are dealing with, nagging injuries, concussion last year. He missed a game because of that.
Right.
He had knee injuries at the end of the year, but who isn't dealing with knee and ankle injuries on the offensive line?
His rookie season, he played 8 games. A couple years ago, 2023, I think he played 6 or 7 games. But the last 2 seasons, 16.
News. The Browns have started rebuilding their offensive line. They've traded for a tackle. Chris, what do you know?
Yeah, so the Texans trading offensive lineman Tytus Howard to the Browns. Titus is 29, started 16 games in each of the past 2 seasons. Cleveland sending a 5th-round pick to Houston in exchange.
Your coveted 5th-round pick, Paul.
How will we ever go on?